Hey guys, this is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing, and in today's tip video I want to show you guys a pretty new feature in DocuSign, and I want to say it rolled out this past month or so. KWRI added in fields that you can add to forms that are not assigned to a specific client. So in the past you were only able to add fields like text fields that are assigned to a specific client, and you had to adjust some of the settings to make it so that your client couldn't fill it out, or if they didn't need to, if this is a field you need to fill out. So essentially they added a field for agents so that you can go ahead and type in information without prompting your clients to actually fill out that field. And I'll show you where those sit. Right? So this is typically something that you will add to PDFs. However, you can add these fields to DocuSign interactive forms. Okay, so what I mean by when I say DocuSign interactive forms is the forms that you can just click on and start typing. Like this one, for example, you'll notice when I open it up, I'll be able to just click to start typing in the fillable fields. Okay, so these are called DocuSign interactive forms. So for the most part, for this tip video, you won't really need to add in additional fields if you are editing the form right from here. Okay, but so this tip will primarily be for PDFs. All right, so the first thing that I want to do to add a PDF is we want to go actually to the envelope section. Now, just before we do, okay, feel free to pause the video so you can go ahead and navigate to your DocuSign room if you'd like to follow along. I just want to point out one thing before we actually get started in this example. In the Documents section, you are actually able to add PDFs right to your DocuSign room as well. So you can come up and click on Add on the top right to add PDFs from your computer. So I'm going to show you two ways to do this. So we can click on Add from the Documents tab of your DocuSign room to select the computer option. Okay, so this will browse your computer for that PDF. So essentially you would have to have this downloaded to your computer already and double click to pull that in. Okay, and right off the bat I can tell the difference between the PDF, right? You can see that marked here with that icon, and the DocuSign interactive forms all have that blue icon here. And that is the same icon as if you come up to the add menu, you'll see that DocuSign forms icon. So just trying to draw this full circle for you guys. These DocuSign forms option here will be your DocuSign interactive forms, versus if you want to add PDFs, you can do that from your computer or any of these options as well. All right, so in order to edit a PDF, right, by nature, a PDF is not editable. So if I open up this PDF, I am not able to just start typing in it, right? That's the big difference between the PDF and the DocuSign interactive form. Okay, so in order to make edits to a PDF, I need to pull that into an envelope first. Okay, so if you can follow me to the Envelopes tab on the top of your DocuSign room. Okay, if you're newer to DocuSign, envelopes might be a newer term for you. Okay, I just want you to think of snail mail for this, and it really makes a lot more sense. Right? Anytime you send out forms or mail in the physical mail, the first thing you would do is grab an envelope. So the first thing we'll do is come to the Envelopes tab and click New on the top right. Again, that's creating a new envelope. Right? You're grabbing the new envelope. So channeling snail mail here, what would be the next thing you would do is I would grab the documents to put in my envelope. So from here, I can grab that directly from the room. So since I already added the PDF or the forms to my DocuSign room, I can go ahead and grab that by clicking Room Docs and clicking on that checkbox to the left of whichever form I want to pull in. And I can see that PDF icon is right here. So I can pretty easily see the difference between the PDF and the other interactive forms, and click Add Selected. Just a heads up, you can also add PDFs right from here. So if you click on More, you can upload straight from your computer as well in the envelope. So next thing we'll need to do is add recipients to our envelope. So we'll click Add Recipients, and we can go ahead and select the room participants. So typically you'll always want to select that top option. Anytime you select Add Recipients, it might be slightly different depending if you have a PDF or an interactive form. I always remember to grab that top option. So here we're telling DocuSign, okay, who are my clients, right? Seller 1 and Seller 2. I can check those from the list and click Add Selected. And now these clients are pulling over automatically because I created my opportunity or my transaction in Command first. And that's how I created my DocuSign room. So if you're new to that process, I will put a 20-minute overview in the description of this YouTube video that shows you the entire process of how to use Command with DocuSign. So again, we'll go ahead and select the clients that need to sign and click Add Selected. I can see them added here. I can add a message if I would like to, but that's not required, and I'll click on Next on the top right. All right, so this is where I was talking about. This is pulling the form into the envelope to give you the option to edit the PDF. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of different fields. Okay, and then at the very top left, you'll see a drop-down with your clients' names and a corresponding color. So as I was talking about a little bit before, previously we only had option to select one of these fields on the left-hand side, which are great. However, they're specifically assigned to your client. So for example, if I have this client selected, you can see it turned all these icons blue. And if I select one of these, let's say the text box, and I put that wherever on the form, so you can click to drop it. Of course, I can resize it by clicking the corners. All right, but since it's blue, what that's saying is that's a required field for my client to fill out. Okay, so on the right-hand side, you'll see that it's required for this client to fill that out. You can adjust the settings to make it so that, it's read-only and it's not required, but KWRI actually added in this new feature that I'm going to show you now to make it so you don't have to toggle the settings, and these will be agent fields. Okay, so if you want your client to fill out the field, so obviously like initial fields, or if you want them to fill out the text field, so if it's a question like, personal property that's conveying with, or something like that they need to fill out, you can absolutely add the text box and then make it so that they would have to fill that field out. It would require them to do so. However, on the left-hand side, we now have these pre-fill tools. So if you click on the pencil icon on the very bottom left of this gray toolbar on the left-hand side, we now have some additional options. So previously, I only had the line option. I'm not sure if it was just in labs. However, now we have this radio option to add in a radio dot. Okay, so to give them the option, let's say to select. This would be typically for the radio dot is typically if they need to select, or if you need to select one or the other, you'll see it'll add multiple. We have the option to add checkboxes as well if that's more fitting for you for the situation. Okay, but you'll notice that all of these fields are gray. So if it is a field that you need to fill out as the agent, this is now your super easy answer. So if it's a field you need to add to the form, to add something additional, simply again, click on the pre-fill tools icon, so the pencil icon on the left-hand side. You can add in the text. There's even a spot for a strike through. But again, the beautiful thing about this new feature is now I can go ahead and type in the answer without it requiring my clients to fill it out. They'll just be able to see that automatically. So on the right-hand side, I can see that it'll apply to all recipients. So in the past, if you assign the field to one client or the other, not both of them were able to see it. Now all recipients can view these text boxes, check boxes, radio and line automatically as long as you're selecting that from the pre-filled tools. Just remember you want it to be gray, meaning it's you as the agent filling that out and not assigned to one of your clients with this color. And I can always double check. Okay, the last thing I want to show you guys, on the top right, we have the Recipient Preview option. I would always recommend clicking on that to make sure when you're viewing the form, so you can see who you're viewing that as in the top left. I can make sure that they can see all the fields, right? So this field is required. Remember how I laid this, I laid a text box for my client to fill out, right? It was blue, solid blue, meaning it's required for them to fill out. I can see now in their view, right? I'm viewing this as my client, Tony Stark. I can see that it will require him to fill this out as soon as I click start. See, I click start on the top left. This is your client's view. And it will require him to fill that in to continue. Okay, and then once it continues, you can then go through and make sure that, he can see all the text. If there was, a next field, I didn't add additional fields for him. But if there was like an initial field, it would give them the option to go next to continue signing here. All right, but I would always check this over. See, now if I look at this as the other client, so again, all I did was change the view on the top left. See, when I view this as the other client, I can view the fields that were laid gray, right? The gray fields I laid, the new feature. However, I cannot see the field that was required for the other client to fill out. So that's the new really great thing about these new fields KWRI has added in. Any gray fields added will be able to be viewed by all of the clients in the transaction versus if it's assigned to one client or the other, like if it's solid blue or solid yellow. As you see right here, right, solid blue, that means only that client can fill it out, only that client can even see it. Okay, if it's gray, by selecting these pre-fill tools on the left-hand side, that means that you can fill it out as the agent and all clients can see it. Okay. And so now lastly, if I click send on the top right, okay, it's giving me that option. And that's just telling me I need to go ahead and fill this out. So I'll go ahead and fill this out and I can click send on the top. And this is now telling me that one of my clients doesn't have any fields. So typically you won't see this, but in that case, I'll go ahead and click send. But what I want to show you guys as a final thing is when you're editing PDFs like we just did, okay, the edits to that PDF will only be viewable in the envelope, right? The envelope. So this shows me anytime that I sent a form out. So I can go ahead and click on that and view the edits here. However, if I go to the Documents tab, just a heads up, you will not see the edits on the original PDF until the copy comes back signed. Okay, so any edits that you added in the envelope like we just did, adding fields and so forth, you will not see that on the original copy of the PDF in your room. You will only see those edits once the form comes back signed by your clients. It will actually come back as a separate copy of the form with a green signed icon. All right, guys, so if you have any questions on that new feature, please feel free to let me know. I'm very excited about the feature, so feel free to email me, support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. All right, guys, I hope this helped, and I will include the 20-minute overview of how to use DocuSign with Command in the description if you'd like to check that out next. Have a great day.